Okay. Next topic is isobars. You have studied about isobars, right? There are atoms with the same atomic mass, and different atomic number. Same atomic mass and different atomic number. Because they are differentiated in their atomic number, they will be different atoms, because different atoms will have different atomic number. So even though their mass numbers are same, their atomic numbers are different. So they will be different elements. You see, argon, potassium, calcium, all are different. So you should know that the behavior, the nature of an atom is determined by the atomic number. It's a very, very important point. Any atom is characterized mainly by its atomic number, not the mass number. An individual atom will have its own atomic number. Generally, no other atom, which is a part of other elements, will not have the same atomic number. Now, if you recall the atomic structure that you have studied in your 8th standard, 9th standard, 10th standard, you mainly learned about the position and motion of electrons. You studied where my electrons are, whether the electrons are in the first orbit, whether the electrons are in the second orbit. You studied like that. You have not studied much about the position of neutrons and protons. You only know that protons and neutrons are close to each other and they are sitting inside the nucleus. That's it. Then the remaining portion you studied about the position and motion of the electrons. Why we haven't given much attention to the nature or the position of neutrons and protons? Why electrons are given more importance compared to protons and neutrons? That's a very, very important question. Now also, when we start dealing with atomic structure, different models, I will concentrate only on electrons. I will not even talk about the protons and the neutrons. I will just tell you there is a nucleus. That's it. Why? Why we have to give more, attention or importance for electrons compared to protons and neutrons? Reason: the chemical nature of an atom depends on the behavior of electrons. The chemical nature of an atom. For example, oxygen is highly reactive in nature. The reactivity depends on the electrons, the behavior of the electrons, not the protons and nucleus, mainly on electrons. Why argon is an inert gas? Why sodium is a highly reactive metal? Why chlorine is an oxidizing agent? Why uranium is radioactive in nature? Radioactivity, except radioactivity, the remaining characteristics are mainly depend on the electronic structure. Radioactivity is dependent on the nucleus. So except to explain radioactivity, all other chemical nature, all other properties of an element mainly determined by electrons. That's why if you want to explain the properties of an atom, of an element, then I have to explain where the electrons are, how many electrons, where they situated, are they moving, what is their energy, all these informations I require. So chemistry is concerned with the behavior of electrons, very, very important point. The number of electrons in an atom controls the chemical properties of an element. And we know why we are studying atomic structure? To understand the properties, right? If you want to understand the properties, we have to learn atomic structure. Properties mainly depends on electrons. So what we have to study in atomic structure? Mainly the position and the movement of electrons. If you recall your periodic table, you studied in your 10th standard, the elements in a group, for example, the elements in a periodic table shows similar chemical properties. For example, first group, right? In group 1, alkali metals, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, all of these atoms or these elements are having same chemical properties. Then we can ask how? How is it possible? They have different atomic number, right? They have different atomic number. Lithium is having an atomic number of 3. Sodium is having an atomic number of 11. And potassium is having an atomic number of 90. And their size, you see, they are much, much different. But why they are showing same chemical properties? They are highly reactive metals. They react with water to form alkali. See? Why? You see their electronic structure. The outermost shell of all these atoms contains only one electron. So that one electron determines the majority of the properties of all these atoms. All atoms have same number of electrons in their outermost shell. So they will behave similar. They behave similar. So electronic structure of these elements are similar. That's why all shows similar properties, which means chemical properties of an atom is determined by its electronic structure. Electronic structure. So that is the reason why we have given more importance for electronic structure in the models related to atomic structure. So you studied about, Rutherford atom model. What you were thinking about, or you studied about the movement of electrons outside the nucleus. Only about the movement of electrons. Why we have given that importance? Reason. So now onwards, whenever you learn about atomic structure, you give more importance how the electrons are arranged, how the electrons are moving, where I can find the electrons, what is the energy associated with that electron, whether that electron possesses more energy or less energy, whether that electron is away from the nucleus or closer to the nucleus, how many electrons are there in the outermost orbit. All these points you have to note down. That will give you the confidence that, okay, I know the properties of this atom because I know how electronic structure of that atom exists or see. So I will be able to explain the properties of an atom. Now, an important session in our webinar. To explain the properties of atom, there are several atom models. Several atom models. Whether we require these many number of atom models to explain the properties of an atom, for example, to explain the properties of hydrogen, whether I require all these atom models, then why we have to learn all these atom models? First atom model, John Dalton atom model, which proposed in 1803. In that model, atom was just considered as a sphere, no subatomic particles. So in his model, he proposed that model in 1803. He said, atoms are considered as a sphere. In this model, you will not be able to see any subatomic particles such as electrons, protons, or neutrons. Do you know why? Can anybody answer? When John Dalton put his first atomic model, he never mentioned there is a proton, there was a neutron, electron. He just said atoms are just like spheres. Because this model came in 1803, right? Nobody was having any idea about subatomic particles at that time. All subatomic particles such as protons, neutrons, electrons, they were discovered only at the later stage of 19th century and initial period of 20th century. So during that time, during the John Dalton time, in the initial part of the 19th century, right, at the end of the 18th century, at that time, nobody was having any idea about electrons and protons. So in his model, definitely electrons and protons will not be there. Understood. But in 1904, J.J. Thomson atom model came. At that time, people were having idea about the existence of electrons and protons. Only electrons and protons. At that time, neutrons were not discovered officially. In 1904, J.J. Thomson. So J.J. Thomson is a scientist who discovered electrons also. So he put his atom model, which is known as the plum pudding model. In this model, you can see electrons are like plums. You see electrons are like plums. in a pudding made up of protons. Can you see neutrons in this structure, in this model? There is no neutrons in this model, right? Because at that time, the existence of neutrons were not clearly established. Scientists were knowing that in addition to protons and electrons, some more particles are there, but they couldn't identify what kind of particle is. And they couldn't identify what is the nature of that particle. That came only in 1930s when James Chadwick, he discovered the neutrons. But during that time, in 1904, J.J. Thomson, he put his model, which is a plum pudding model. In that model, right, the electrons are like plums in a pudding made up of protons. But this model failed miserably because we know that electrons and protons are oppositely charged, right? And if oppositely charged particles are close to each other, they will be attracted and collide with each other. All the protons and electrons, they will collide with each other. And if they collide with each other, the atom will be collapsed, right? So very, very simple. So J.J. Thomson model, it didn't get that kind of attention on when scientists asked this question. How can you make an arrangement like this? Protons and electrons, they are very close to each. If they are staying close to each other, they will be attracted because of their opposite charge. And they will collide with each other and the atom will be collapsed, right? So John Dalton model, at a later stage, it was discarded. J.J. Thomson model came when the question arised based on the stability of the atom. That model also was, rejected. Then the first nuclear model of atom was proposed by Rutherford, right? Rutherford atom model in 1911. As per his model, most of the mass of an atom is concentrated at the center. At the center, which is called, any question? Can you please mute your mic? And if you have any questions, you can unmute and ask questions. Thank you. So the first nuclear model of atom was proposed by Rutherford. You see, as per his model, most of the mass of an atom is concentrated at the center of atom, which is called nucleus. One thing you have to remember, at this time in 1911, neutrons were not officially discovered. Neutrons discovered only in 1935 by James Chadwick. But scientists were knowing that one fact, in addition to the protons, some type of particles are there inside the nucleus. But they were not knowing what it is, what is the nature, what is the size, what is the charge. They were not having that kind of idea. That idea came only in 1935 with an experiment performed by James Chadwick. But they knew that along with proton, some other particles were also there. That portion, this concentrated portion, is known as nucleus. And it has positive charge due to the presence of positively charged protons. He said that the electrons are moving around the nucleus. See, electrons are moving around the nucleus. This model looked good, right? At that time, this model looked good. But later, scientists asked a few questions. Those questions we are going to discuss now. For example, it's a very, very important point. For example, if an electron is rotating or revolving around the nucleus, it will lose its energy gradually and will be attracted towards the nucleus. And it will reduce the radius of their movement. And eventually, fall in the nucleus. Then there will not be any existence of an atom. This is the one of the drawback of this model. So as per this model, Rutherford said that electrons are moving around the nucleus, very easily around the nucleus. But scientists asked a question, right? If electrons are moving like this, right, when during the movement, it will lose its energy. And during that time, it will be attracted towards the nucleus. So what will happen? Initially, electrons will move in the circular path. Then they will reduce the radius of their circular path like this, and they will fall, right? Then there is there will not be any existence of an atom. This is one of the drawbacks of this model. I can explain this nature with an example. For example, your physical instructor in your school asked you to run 10 rounds in your school ground, right? On a hot, sunny day. So what you will do? If it is a hot, sunny day, first round, you will run like this, right? You will complete by taking the longer path. Then, if your physical instructor is not observing you, you will take a shorter path, right? Because you have to complete, right, 10 rounds. So you will take a circular path, which will be shorter and shorter. Then you will run like this. Right? Because on a sunny day, you will lose your energy gradually. And to complete 10 rounds, you will be forced to take shorter circular path. Otherwise, you may get scolding from your physical instructor that you are not doing things properly. Similarly, electrons will reduce its path radius and eventually fall inside the nucleus, right? Now, one question: can Rutherford atom model, whether it can explain the stability of an atom? Can anybody answer? Whether Rutherford atom model can explain the stability of an atom? Atoms are stable, right? Most of the atoms are stable. But a sodium atom, that is stable. Can it explain the stability of an atom? Answer is no, right? It cannot explain the stability of an atom. Another issue, not only this issue, another issue with the Rutherford atom model is in multi-electron system, it cannot describe the relative position and motion of the electrons. For example, I will explain that. This is a hydrogen atom. This is a hydrogen atom. How many electrons are there? Only one electron. So it is a single electron system. So there are no other electrons in a hydrogen atom to interact with the electron. No electron-electron interaction. So I can give an equation for the circular motion of this electron. You know, every motion, every movement, you can explain with the help of an equation. For example, if I want to give an equation for a straight line, which equation I will write? Y equal to mx plus c. So I can explain, you know, the movement in a straight line, right? Using this equation. Similarly, I can use another equation to explain the motion of the movement of an electron. But that prediction or that equation you can make only if one electron is present. But in multi-electron system, you see an atom which contains n number of electrons. Now, during their movement, they will be repelled each other because they are negatively charged. They are having the similar charges. So they will repel. So once they start repelling, their motion will be a little bit different, right? Because if you are, for example, you are running with your friend, and during that run, you are holding his hand. So can you run properly? No, right? So the movement of the electrons will be disturbed, and if it is disturbed, then you will not be able to, you know, get an equation for the movement of the electrons. So there are many electrons in an atom, and these electrons will repel each other even during their movement. This will change the movement pattern and speed of the electrons. Then can you write an equation for the movement of the electrons in a proper way? It's very, very difficult. If it's a single electron, no electrons are there to change its direction, to change its speed. It will move in constant speed, right? So no issue. You can actually, give an equation for a circular motion. Very, very simple. But if more electrons are there during their movement, they will be attracted each other. They will be repelled each other, which will change the movement pattern and speed of the electrons. Then we won't be able to write an equation for the movement of electrons. That is another issue, right? One more limitation. So second reason for the failure of Rutherford atom model. This model also got failed. First reason, the stability of the atom, it couldn't explain. Second, it cannot explain the nature of the movement of the electrons using an equation. Very, very difficult. Now, one more limitation. Till now, I was discussing only about the subatomic particles and an atom. I didn't discuss anything that is affecting atoms and subatomic particles. For example, if I pass a radiation means even visible light, any electromagnetic radiation. If I pass any electromagnetic radiation through a matter, so what happens? The atoms, especially the electrons in that atom, will interact with the radiation. And the electrons in that atom will absorb energy from that radiation. Once they absorb energy from that radiation, then they will behave differently. And this behavior means the interaction of matter include the atom, the electrons, with the electromagnetic radiation. We call that properties as spectroscopic properties. You will be studying in detail. About spectroscopic properties in your +1. So before that, you should know what is spectroscopic properties. For example, I have a ball which contains so many atoms. That atom contains electrons, and I am passing light through it. The atoms of the electrons in that atom may absorb energy from that radiation and change its behavior. Behavior means how it should move, where the electron should be present. All these things will change. And that interaction, the study of that interaction is known as spectroscopy, and that behavior is known as spectroscopic properties. You are going to study spectroscopic properties in detail. Why this interaction happens? Why these spectroscopic properties arises? When matter interacts with the radiation, Rutherford couldn't explain. So third reason why Rutherford atom model failed. Even though you studied about Rutherford atom model in your school, you haven't studied this much. Like why it got failed. It was looking fine, right? Electrons are moving around the nucleus. Very simple model. But the problems associated with this model, because it cannot explain, mainly three characteristics. One, stability of an atom. Second, in the multi-electron system, you cannot tell the behavior of the electrons' movement and their position. Third, the spectroscopic properties, the interaction with radiation and matter, it couldn't explain.